Hi, I'm Zach Needles, editor-in-chief of Family Business Magazine. In this interview, I chat with Brent Thomas, founder of natural skincare company Tepi Naturals, who explains how a multi-generational family business was established by a NextGen. Brent discusses how a great idea brought the family together, how they found their footing by leaning into each other's unique strengths, and why building a business together has become part of a larger vision for a multi-generational legacy. Hi, Brent. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah, happy to do it. I love this story because obviously we have a lot of multi-generational family businesses on this show, but it's very rare that the business is started by the son and then the father joins after the fact, right? It's kind of a cool reverse. So why don't you kind of walk us through the founding of Tepi Naturals, first of all, and what was the moment or the need that sparked the business, and then how did it kind of evolve from your idea to an actual business that you launched?
So the idea actually stemmed from my father, and this
Oh,
has
cool.
been a collaboration from different industry viewpoints. So my father, he's been in the coffee industry my entire life.
Yeah.
Worked at the same company for it's almost 36 years now.
Wow.
And what his company provides is a roast for coffees. So they import coffee from all around the world. And one of the things he was noticing was that during that roasting process, it's a little piece of, it's like a tegument or a nutrient dense membrane that flakes off of the raw coffee bean at those high temperatures. And
Yeah.
then that gets discarded on a global scale.
Yeah.
So like 400,000 tons of this um, byproduct of the roasting process gets discarded. And he was seeing some of the studies about it in some peer-reviewed scientific journals and shared them with me. Now, my background is I have a formal education in chemistry. My emphasis was in organics. So, and he's always been entrepreneurial with his children. So he's given, my brother, side thoughts, projects that he might be able
Yeah.
to build into businesses. And so he shared the studies with me. I did a huge deep dive into the literature, and I came back to my dad. I said, this is a really healthy ingredient for skincare and nobody's using it in the industry. Let's bring it to the people all wrapped up in plants.
Yeah.
Um, because one of the reasons why I went into chemistry was for drug design. So I wanted to build something that could be helpful for, the people.
Yeah.
And as I got further and further into that, I noticed, you might be solving one problem, but it causes a bunch of other problems at the same time. And
Right.
our bodies have evolved to process the natural world. And so bringing in something that gets discarded on a global scale. So we're environmentally friendly, reducing industrial waste, but in a
Yeah.
way that is beneficial for society as a whole in a super saturated industry that you see a lot of synthetic material that
Yeah.
ultimately can cause irritation, inflammation. I'm like that. This is a fantastic opportunity for us to bring something really good to the people.
That's so
So
cool.
yeah, so that's how it started. I can go a little bit back into, how long it took, what we were doing in the beginning, but we've evolved quite a bit in these last, I don't know, 7 years at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it's really cool that it was your dad's idea. When did he actually decide, "Hey, I'm gonna join you in the business"?
I think that so family, we have 4 total, participating in Tepi Naturals.
Yeah.
Um, it's my mother, father, younger sister, and I. And at first, sister, mom, dad, they're like, hey, you know what? This has great potential, but is it something that we can make into a desired product? Everybody's like, okay, what does it do for me? But then does it have the texture, the absorption, the hydration factors to it? can it be something that people would want to repurchase, enjoy the experience? So that was a major focus of mine going into the formulations, making not just a product that, is going to be healthy for you, but also enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
So it took me about a year to go through the literature, decide this is something that I personally want to put my own personal funds into, for like benchtop lab equipment and start playing with small formulations. Um, we didn't have a product until about 6 months after that.
Yeah.
So, I had small little batches at the time, little benchtop lab equipment that I was making just maybe a kilogram of lotion, and it would take a day. We shared that with friends and family and did that over, I don't know, 75, 100 times until people start coming back to like, okay, this is really, really enjoyable to use.
Yeah.
Smells great, texture's great, doesn't leave you feeling oily or greasy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so then my family members are like, okay, let's make it look nice. And so my sister, who has a fantastic eye for design, we put her onto the design work for our products. And so she started playing with different designs, see how we can bring it in a nice, lovely, visually appealing package on top of the product itself.
Yeah.
Um, so she got on board, rudimentary when we first started, like little button stickers on the product. And then our first trial run would be at our local farmers market, right in the Yorba Linda Town Center. And so that's where we did our first test marketing, back in 2020, at the end of 2020.
Yeah. That's so cool. I love that idea that you're all just kind of, you're tinkering around in the lab, and then the rest of your family is kind of like seeing what you're doing and getting excited about it and interested in it, uh, organically enough, not to, no pun intended, I guess. But
Mhm.
you know, it was one of those things where, because there are so many family businesses that we talk to that are multi-generational, and sometimes there's like an expectation that you're going to join the family business, or you find out you get interested in the family business because of your parents or looking back at your ancestors' history or whatever it might be. It's really cool that you're all kind of there together, figuring this thing out together and getting excited about it together, and then deciding to go into business.
I, I do have an interesting comment on that.
Yeah.
So my dad being in the coffee industry, there was a portion of my adulthood where I had a desire to actually ask him to be a part of what he does for a living. Join into that history that he's built for us and what's supported our family through the decades. There was that desire to build like a family legacy, and so that's kind of a big part of this too, is to build something that our family can grow off of for generations to come. So,
I love that. That's such a it's such a cool thing. Like I said, for me to talk to somebody who's like, you know, the founding generation, right? But you're already creating this multi-generational family business, and you're already kind of thinking along those lines. It's such a different spin on this. And so, I guess the next question would be, there's four of you involved. So it's a pretty small group, although I'm sure making decisions together is not always easy. Do you have governance structures in place to aid decision making, like for the business, and also as a family, as family owners or family leaders of the business?
so yeah, we've got a bit of a voting process. We take into account each of our specialties, as I guess a weighted type of thought process on it. But ultimately, we come to these decisions together. It's I'd say far and few in between where somebody is really fighting against an issue, and we just say, you know what, we're going to ignore that. We give a lot of thought into each of the decisions that we make, and share research behind it, what is the purpose of it, how, and then you also think too is everything is, I guess, testing too. So,
Yeah.
we might have experience at the shows and how, our clients react to, certain messaging, and it could always be changed up. Whether it's, we like to do a little trial and error. So, I mean, this is probably the fifth or sixth iteration of our labels, continual improvement, things get cut, added in, constantly changing design,
Yeah.
formulation. Um, well, I guess the formulations stay intact once they, hit the shelves. But like in the initial, formulation of our new products, those are, test trial error type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
um, far and few are there times where we say, hey, you know what, we're just going to move on with a certain topic. Maybe we'll shelf it, come back to it later after we've given it some thought, and then move forward as a family on it. So,
Awesome. Are all four of you kind of science minded? Obviously, you and your dad are. Do you all have that aptitude?
um, not so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have different roles within the company. Myself, formulator. My background is in chemistry, so I deal a lot with product design, new formulations. My
Yeah.
father, he's been a businessman his whole life, so he's been in the coffee industry. He's the director of sales for a quite large coffee company out in LA. um, my mother has a lot of organizational skills, so she takes care of a lot of the logistics in the background, scheduling, finances. And my younger sister, as I mentioned earlier, has a fantastic eye for design. So
Yeah.
she's the creative mind for how our company is presented to the public.
Yeah.
So those are, I guess, a way to, you know, I don't want to say pigeonhole, but we have like our own specialties that we focus on, and so we bring
Yeah.
those to the table. So yeah, it's
I think that's great. Yeah, and I ask about this the scientific aptitude, which I have absolutely zero scientific aptitude. So I asked because of just what you were talking about, like that iteration process and the rigorous testing and trying things over and over again. But it sounds like everybody's on board with that, and I think it's really smart that everyone has a different lane, right? Because even when it's just four of you, if all four of you are trying to do the same jobs and have opinions on all the same aspects of the business, that can be tough, right?
yeah, you could get into a little bit of more in depth disagreements, I would say.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
there's
And
there's
so,
there's a lot of trust. I'd say
yeah,
there's a lot of trust, and we've actually come quite a long way. So it's solidified the trust that we've had in each other too. So that's a big positive.
yeah.